Hi. Well, the first step in getting control of your attitude, we said, was watching what you think. Now we're going to talk about step two, which is watch what you say. Thoughts are things, and when those thoughts come through your mouth, those words have a big cause and effect. And you have to be very conscious of what you say because your subconscious mind believes all those words. So even if you're saying them and don't believe it on a conscious level, your subconscious is believing it. Everything is either true or false. And to your subconscious, it is whatever you say it is. So if you want to sound confident, even though you're scared, and maybe not confident, you can actually fool your subconscious mind into thinking it is true by acting as if it is. If you pump yourself up and act like you are confident, you will actually, over time, become more confident. This is a little bit, there's a phrase called fake it till you make it. I always tell students when they have to do a report in front of the class, do some public speaking, one of the tricks to doing a good job as a public speaker is to act like you are having the greatest time of your life, even though internally you are dying. You never want to show the fear. Don't walk up there and tell the crowd how nervous you are. I've seen people do that. That's a disaster. You want to walk up like you own the place and walk up like you are having the time of your life because that is telling your subconscious mind that you got this. And that's what you want to do because that leads to belief that you can do it. And remember, again, the Henry Ford quote, if you believe you can, you can. And if you believe you can't, you can't. And you want to have the positive, not the negative. Leads to the right actions. And you'll get the results you want. So if you think in terms as a little exercise, if you think of something you're not good at, whatever that is, start applying a little of the fake it till you make it until and do this as an exercise and really pump yourself up as if you are really good at that particular thing. And over a little bit of time, you will hopefully, if you persist, you will actually see that result. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay. There we go. A lot of people, if you go out in your daily life, people will ask you, "How are you? How are you doing?" And what is a response that many people give? It's something negative. Oh, my back hurts. I have a headache. Well, it's cold out. It's raining. Or you give a kind of mediocre, I'm okay. That's horrible. Those are bad habits, and that's what they are. They are habits. You have to make being positive a habit. So start again thinking of something that works for you, that fits your personality. What are you going to say when somebody says, "How are you?" You want to always go positive here. You need something like fantastic, great, terrific, awesome, spectacular, never better, super, excellent. You do this even if you are dying. You're about to die, and somebody says, "How are you doing?" This should come out of your mouth. Now, initially, it's going to feel hokey. You're going to drive some people crazy. At the university, people will come up to me and, it'll be lousy weather and something bad is going on. And maybe I like crap because I'm sick. Always go positive. You ask me, how am I? I am awesome. I vary it up a little, but the general view is I am awesome. I am having the time of my life. This is great. And it's almost a joke at the university. people will, they comment. They even ask me, I think, how I am, just because they want to hear what kind of response I'm going to be. Now, although that might seem a little hokey to you, that think of that versus the alternative. How many people do you ever ask, how are you? And they come back with, oh my gosh, their life sucks. Do you really want to be around that kind of person? You immediately try to get away from them. So again, if we're talking leadership or in an organization where you're trying to impress people, you've got a choice. You can be that person that maybe they're making fun of on a positive. Oh, Dave's always so positive. And maybe they even view it as a negative. But that's okay. I'd rather be viewed that way than the alternative. Now, who do you think is going to get further ahead in life? This is a recurring theme in a lot of my programs, is that everybody already, everybody thinks they need a secret to be successful. Well, I'm going to tell you a secret right now. Listen up, lean in. I'm going to tell you the secret to getting further ahead in your life. There is no secret. You already know how to be successful. That is the secret. Now, what do I mean by that? Who do you think is going to get further ahead in life? Someone who is always positive, taking the positive point of view, or someone who's always negative, taking the negative? Who's going to rise up in any organization they're in? You know the answer, don't you? And in other areas, how many of you have ever heard you should save 10% of your income? Shocker. All of you have heard that. Yet how many people are actually doing it? Who is going to move ahead in their career? Someone who is chronically late for work, or somebody who always gets there early? Oh, the one who always gets there early. See, there's no secret. You know how to be successful. You know you should have a positive attitude. It just, some people don't do it. So again, actions. By having this positive attitude and saying something like, awesome, I feel great, that generates enthusiasm. And that's one of the most significant success traits. It attracts people. If you ever look at somebody and you wonder maybe they attract a very, they're not that attractive looking, and yet they always seem to have a really good date. Check their attitude. I'll bet you they're pretty enthusiastic. Enthusiasm attracts people. It attracts good in almost all areas of your life. It is better to be enthusiastic. Everybody might not like my teaching style. I'm sure I have bad habits. My personality turns off some. In over 30 years of teaching, I've never had one negative comment on this area of enthusiasm. I've never had somebody say, well, gee, he seems really bored. Now, you may not like me, but you do think I'm enthusiastic. And the enthusiasm, is infectious. Everybody likes it. It makes you feel good. You wish you felt that way about your job. And you can if you understand this chapter, or this module, rather. You could tell I'm a college student. I talk about chapters. Be careful. Just like we want you to be enthusiastic, you need to quit complaining. It's easy to do. Everybody likes it. Oh, it feels good, but it's very unattractive. It's sort of the reverse. You repel people. Enthusiasm attracts people. Complaining, just repels people. It's unattractive. No one likes it except other complainers who you don't need to hang out with anymore. That is not going to help you to attract other people like yourself who are complainers. The only time it's good to complain is if you're complaining to someone who can solve your problem, who can help you reach a resolution. Then it's okay to share. But if you have a sore back, unless the person's a chiropractor or a doctor, probably not worth sharing. There's no benefit to it. And exercise, it'll help you. When you think you have all these problems and you're complaining about stuff all the time, make a blessing list. Make a list of all the things you are grateful for. Sometimes that'll help cure this little bit of negativity that you've let creep into your life. Specifically, some common things that everybody does: aches and pains, especially when you get older, you start talking about all the things that are wrong. I know I do this. I have to fight this one a lot because, again, it is common. It is a bit of human nature, I think. The weather I've already commented on. Why on earth would you want to let the weather determine what type of day you will have? You can't control the weather. So why open up the window or drape in the morning and look out and decide what kind of day you're having? That is the dumbest thing in the world if you think about it. And yet lots and lots of people do that. And when you share your problems with other people, 90% of the people you tell do not care. And sadly enough, the other 10% are probably happy that you have the problem. So there's no benefit. So avoid it. Now, there's some debate in the world of goal setting on whether you should tell other people your goals or not. The way I've kind of come down on this is I would never discuss my goals with someone who is a negative person. And it's not hard to know whether somebody is negative or not. You know who these people are. You could make a list of them. You could probably make a list of all the negative people you know. That'll be really long. Compare that with the list of positive people you know, which is really short. Now, if you want to share your goals, if you think that would give you some kind of support group, make sure you only tell them to people who are positive and might help you along the way or support your position. Instead of, if you tell your goals to negative people, they'll tell you how stupid you are. What, you plan to open a business? Oh, no, that's terrible. You'll lose your shirt. I know somebody who did this 10 years ago and they lost their money. Or they give you this negativity and they've never started a business. They don't know anybody who started a business, yet they, quote, know everything there is to know about it. So be careful. Again, the idea of only tell your goals to people who can help, probably good advice. And it's okay for accountability. If you go, I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to lose 20 pounds and I'd like you to kind of keep tabs on me. And if you see me eating at McDonald's 3 times a week, maybe you tell me, what about that goal to lose weight? So if I'm looking for an accountability buddy, I have to tell them, and I'm putting myself on the spot. And that can be powerful for some folks. Your self-talk, if you don't want to share it with other people, at least talk to yourself. Your subconscious mind, they're a good ally to have. But make sure you're careful. You talk about it in a positive way. Okay, third issue. We've talked about how you should think, how you have to watch what you say, and now make sure you don't just leave it there. Because if you do, that law of attraction is not going to work. You need to take action. Successful people have a bias towards action. You need to. You need to have positive people that you hang out with. So when you're taking action, you will hopefully attract and identify other positive people. You want to hang out with the eagles. You want to soar with the eagles. You don't want to be scratching around in the dirt with the turkeys. I've always loved this quote. You are the average of the 5 people you hang around with most. If you really think about that, that is probably true. And this is in every aspect, personality, income. I usually talk about this in my financial planning classes. If you want to make more money, the best way you can do it, dump the 5 people you're hanging around with most now, because they make about the same amount of money you do. You want to make more money? Start hanging around with rich people. It is, it's hard to even explain the impact you get by hanging out with people who are, quote, better than you in whatever you're trying to accomplish. That's how you get better. If you want to improve at a sport or a game, let's say you take up chess and you can beat everybody you hang out with, you're never getting any better. If you want to get better at chess, the way you do it is go find people who are better than you. Go to a tournament or go online and play people with a higher rating than you, and you will get trounced by them. They will beat you into the ground. That's why people don't want to do it. They feel bad, but that's how you get better. And before long, you'll be beating them. And then if you go play people you used to play, you'll be so much better. But that's how you have to do it. Okay, so now we have this generates some solutions to how you can fix if you have a bad attitude. Hang out with people who have a positive attitude. If you want more money, hang out with people who make more money than you. So now this works in reverse too. You have to change your association. Some people don't like this. They think this is a little snooty here, or you're going to get a little obnoxious. But it is a fact. You're going to have to avoid some toxic people. And you know who they are. And sadly enough, some of these toxic people might be you. Are you one of these people who, if somebody tells you their dream, oh, someday I want to do this, you crush them? There are people who take joy out of, I dealt with this when I was a kid growing up, because I would talk about being rich when I was little, because I remember I had no money. My life sucked. And I would talk someday I'm going to, someday. And I had relatives and people made fun of me, and they don't make fun of me anymore. And that's okay. I haven't dealt with those people for decades. Left them in the rearview mirror. You don't want to hang around people who are going to take away your dream. So seek people who support you, not people who take away from your dream. That is really important. It's hard to succeed. You might even have to. I have known people who got a divorce because their spouse was one of these people that was holding them back. And they were just never going to make it to what they wanted. It's hard to change the other person. Most people are not like you who are taking courses like this. You're trying to get better. Most people aren't. Most people are in their little world, and that's where they're going to stay. And so when you start creeping out of that world, they want to hold you back. And they're even sometimes doing it because they love you. They're trying to keep you from failure, keep you from disappointment. Well, that's not what you need. That's not what you need. So, solution. Where do you find people who are positive, outgoing, trying to improve? Gee, they're all over there. Every workshop, seminar, college class, everybody in these industry events, they're the movers and shakers in whatever industry. They're always trying to get better. That's why they're there. They spend money, then they invest time in order to generate positive results. That's what they're trying to do. They're getting better. So why not go to all those events too? That's who you're going to hang out with. You're changing that group of 5 people you hang out with. And that's going to have a big impact on your life. Well, fear holds a lot of people back. To be successful, you have to face your fear. Everybody has fear. Fear is not unique. Courage is the ability to deal with the fear and face it. So don't worry about, well, oh my gosh, I'm afraid. Everybody's afraid. I am terrified to do almost everything I've ever done in my life. And yet I have done it. I have faced it, addressed it, dealt with it. if you act on your fear, eventually you won't be afraid anymore. I was so afraid of public speaking when I was in high school. I used to hope I would have a car accident on the way to the event. On the way to class, I wanted to have a car accident. Didn't want to die, but I did want to maybe break an arm or so. So I could spend a day in the hospital and not have to do the speech. That's how bad. And then I turn out in a profession where I talk for a living in front of large groups of people. Go figure. God has a sense of humor. Anytime, by the way, this is a success characteristic, a little trick. If you get this, you're going to be a star in whatever field you go into. Most people are in a comfort zone and they never want to break out of that because it makes them uncomfortable. Well, so your boss someday is going to say, would you like to go I need to have somebody go make a speech in front of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm busy. And they asked me and I told them I'd send somebody. And they asked you. And you're going to say, I've never done that before. And then the boss will go to somebody else until he finds somebody willing to do it. That's the wrong technique. That's what everybody else does. I've never done that, so they say no. What you have to do is say, sure, I'll be happy to do that, even though you're terrified. And even though you've never done it, between now and the date of the speech, you will figure it out. And then you will go do it. And if you do the positive visualization, you put in the time and effort to do a good job, you will do a good job. And now, if you look at the little diagram there, you went out to the point of the X and you've done something that's uncomfortable. Not only does that now make you comfortable and more competent to do a speech, but all the other areas that are in that uncomfortable range, a lot of those will no longer be uncomfortable because you did that one thing. And notice your abilities are greater now. Your circle of ability is greater. And if you continually do that, if you continually do things that are uncomfortable that you have never done before, you'll look back 20 years from the future and, oh my gosh, you're a huge circle there. And you're extremely talented. Remember the Jim Rohn quote, wish that you were better. If you do that technique of always saying yes to stuff, no matter how terrifying, you will be better. Some of the most common fears, most of these I've hit already, so I don't think I'm going to dwell too much on the public speaking, certainly. Salespeople here know all the time rejection. They're afraid of that. So if you're in sales, you have to deal with that. Most people are afraid to change jobs because it's uncertain or start a business. They hate to tell the boss negative news. They're afraid to talk to people in upper management. You know how you get noticed by people in upper management in a favorable way? You talk to them. People are afraid of failure. You got to overcome that. You got to deal with the failure, fail forward. You've got to overcome all those things to be successful. Those are all little opportunities in your career you need to be looking for how can I get rejected more often so I learn how? How can I do public speaking? How can I talk to the boss? I see him over there at the next table, or I see him sitting there having lunch. Most people would be afraid to go sit next to him. Why don't you go sit next to him? Introduce yourself and tell them what you do and get into a little conversation. Talk to the boss. Nothing will help your career more. Remember, everybody who's really good that you're afraid of, they were once really bad. So everybody who's really good was once really bad. Follow the Nike thing. Just do it. Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. Successful people do what unsuccessful people are afraid to do. The logo on my for my corporation is success is easier than failure. It's easier to be successful and do the things that are required than it is to live with the failures. I've referred to this, earlier, fail forward. Successful people fail all the time. They fail a lot more often than you do. but they don't let it, they understand that it shouldn't bother you that you fail. What matters is the success that comes. Nobody will remember the failures when you succeed. Comes with the territory. All kinds of financial failures, all the names on here, some you recognize, some you probably don't. Um, all of them have had huge financial failures and many have gone bankrupt. All these are names you would think, oh my gosh, they're hugely successful financially. No, but they all failed along the way. They all failed. Henry Ford, everybody knows, bankruptcy. Mozart, Mark Twain, all failed miserably. There's the ultimate loser. Imagine somebody, age 23, filed bankruptcy, ran for a state legislature, failed, defeated. 2 years later, failed again, another bankruptcy. 2 in 3 years. Then, love of his life died. Depression, suffered a nervous breakdown. Tried to run for office again, lost. This is not turning out to be a good decade. Finally, age 34, new decade. Try it again. No, lost. Another defeat 5 years later. Age 46. This guy's nuts. He keeps losing at the local level, loses for Congress, and now he tries to be a Senate candidate, loses. Oh, let's go higher. Defeated as a vice. This person is crazy. Age 49, defeated again for the Senate in the most public Senate race of all time. Age 51, elected President of the United States. Abraham Lincoln. Quite a loser there, huh? It's persistence. It's enthusiasm. Encouragement. He had people who encouraged him. It's a numbers game. I've always liked, I don't know if you're follow baseball, but an all-star baseball player bats around 300. That's a star. That means you're failing 7 out of 10 times. I've always liked that example. If you've ever read the book Chicken Soup for the Soul, I actually know one of the 2 authors of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, Mark Victor Hansen. And he told me they failed 33 times. The publishers turned them down 33 times before one accepted. How many would have persisted? Would you have persisted through 33 defeats before you succeeded? Would you have done what Lincoln did? I'm not sure I would have, but I know I should have. Failures are learning experiences. There is no failure unless you quit. There's only results. If you fail, you have a result you can learn from. Quitting is the only failure. If you quit, you fail. Otherwise, you haven't failed. You just haven't figured out what works yet. On that note, we will end our little session. Thanks. Hope you had a good time. Bye.